guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is my first Victoria Schwab book. I know that she's written a ton of other really popular YA books. I've heard of a lot of her works, however, this one I just didn't really like. And I'm really sad to say this because I heard about what this book was about, like the really brief synopsis. It had music in it. I'm a really big band kid. When I heard about this book, I was like, wow, I need to read this. But sadly, it just did not live up to what I was hoping it would be. But I will be talking about this throughout this entire video. First, I'm going to put out 2 disclaimers. There will be timestamps in the description, and you will see at the end of this video there is a spoiler section. So if you have not read The Savage Song and do not want the book spoiled for you, then please do not watch that part of the video. And finally, a content warning, which I will be doing for all of my reviews going forward. The Savage Song has some violence in it, and there are monsters in this, so if you are a bit paranoid like I am, I read this at a time where I was a bit paranoid, but it was fine for me. This has some monsters in it because well, not some, there are a lot, because this book's entire premise is set on monsters, but we'll talk about that in a second. And now, my brief overview of what this book is about. We are in a city that is divided in half. There are 2 guys who rule each side, the north side and the south side. The main difference that separates these 2 cities is how they deal with monsters. There are 3 types of monsters: the Korsai, the Malachi, and the Sunai. The Korsai basically just eat you. The Malachi drink your blood, and the Sunai steal your soul with music. And that's how they all feed on people. And the reason why they do this, and the reason why they're there in the first place, is that they manifest from bad acts such as violence or killing people or killing a ton of people, and they're each assigned to that, and that's why they do what they do. In the north side, they do not tolerate this. If you pay to live under Harker, who is the guy that rules it, if you pay to be protected by him, then you won't have to worry about this. But in the south side, they will just kill off these monsters. You don't have that same protection. This story is about 2 main characters: Kate, who is the daughter of Harker, who is the ruler of the north side, and August, who is a family member of sorts from the south side. And as you can see, that's August right there. And he happens to be a Sunai and plays violin to eat other people's souls. These 2 cross paths at school, and they just get pulled into this mess of whatever's going on in this world with these monsters. I'm just going to start with the pros because I need to start this off with something positive, at least. I do think that the use of like music in this, and just the fact that that's how the Sunai eat and feed off of things and how they just live in this world, like that's how they do it. They will have a certain instrument or something assigned to them, and they have a certain song, sing or play it, and that's how they eat. I just thought that was a really interesting concept, and that's what really drew me into this book. The idea that these monsters are manifested from people's bad acts, like as a form of karma in a way. It kind of reminds me of Lucifer, the Netflix series, and it's like it's a bit of a thing that you think about during this book, like not that much, but you think about, like, do these people deserve like this kind of gruesome death from these monsters, or do they deserve to go peacefully? Like what's their consequence? But now I'm moving on to the cons, and then I will do the spoiler section. So the cons will just be like my very basic opinions. There's a cat crossing the street. The thing that bothered me the most, like in the very beginning of the book, was the use of parentheses. There were so many instances in which parentheses were used. Yeah, I didn't like it at all. The growing crowd of girls in their pajamas had crossed themselves at the sight of it. Parentheses. Nicole Teak, whose nose Kate had recently broken, flashed a smug grin, as if Kate was getting what she deserved, as if she hadn't wanted to get caught. Close parentheses. A lot of the uses of parentheses were just unnecessary. There was only one example in which it was used properly. Very good, Miss Harker, said Mr. Brody with the bad word here. Eating grin. Parentheses, a term August had learned from Harris. Parentheses. This was the only instance of parentheses that I could find that was actually like fine for me. I don't know. I have this thing with parentheses. The use of them is just a bit immature in writing. Yeah, just the fact that it was on every other page bothered me. A bit of a more broad subject is the character Kate. She is just this relentless child, and she's a high school senior, and she's just not a good person. I don't know if she was meant to be written as this bad person, because she would use her privilege as this guy's daughter to get whatever she wants. She smoked on school campus, and then, you know, someone had to go and tell her, like, excuse me, you're not supposed to be smoking on campus, when she's been smoking like 3 cigarettes the entire time. But if she was supposed to be some kind of like empowering female character, I just didn't get that from her. There was one point in the book where some kid was talking about her behind her back. She heard it. She followed this girl into the bathroom and put a knife to her throat and said, "Stop doing that." She just didn't give off a high school senior vibe to me. Maybe it's because I just don't like these kinds of people in general. I'm not sure if I can say the same for August. I think he was fine in terms of characters. I mean, like, he just had more going for him. I know Kate had daddy issues, but I just didn't find her any kind of character to be sympathetic for. I didn't feel bad for her at all. Anything that came to her, I did not feel bad. Let's go into my tabs. This is the first time I've ever tabbed really anything in the book because I just had so much to say. So let me walk you through what these tabs mean. Started off with orange. This is stuff that I just don't like or makes me angry, those kinds of things. And as you can see, there are like a ton of tabs like this. Then we have green, which is stuff that I like, something that makes me happy. Purple, which can mean like something that surprised me. And finally, the one singular pink tab there. This is usually reserved for romance, but there really was none in this book, so I just used it for something that I loved in the book. And as you can see, from there only being one, you get the idea. See, August was too nice for this world. I liked his character way more than Kate by a long shot. Alright, more about me talking about Kate. Oh yeah, this is a spoiler section, by the way. I didn't even realize I was slowly going into the spoiler section here. This scene is where August and Kate are kind of like getting to know each other under the bleachers, having conversation. August shrugged. "I guess I'm not really a people person. What about you?" Her eyes went wide in mock surprise. "Didn't you hear? I burned down a school, or did drugs, or slept with a teacher, or killed a kid. It really depends on who you ask." I'm not even gonna elaborate on this. Oh yes, the constant repetition of description in this book. For example, Kate sat back in her chair and tapped a metal nail against her teeth. This was mentioned at least like a million other times in this book, at the fact that Kate's nail polish was metallic. I don't know if that was supposed to mean something other than she was wearing metallic nail polish. I just didn't understand the reason why this was repeated so many times. Anytime that Kate was doing something, it would be like her metallic nails, or her metal nails, or her iron nail polish. Yeah, and then at the end of the book, she had painted it black in a matter of 2 minutes. And then something to actually be happy about, August being slowly put into this state of hunger where he hasn't really eaten enough souls for the day, but he doesn't want to do it. Like, he's not a bad person, he just doesn't want to eat people's souls, but he has to do it in order to survive and not go dark, which means he goes on this mass killing spree and just plays his violin over and over again. That's how he satisfies his hunger. So this paragraph here, I'm not going to read all of it, but actually yes I am. He wanted to laugh at the absurdity of this life, with all of its this word. He wanted to take up his violin and play and play and play until all the hunger was gone, until he stopped feeling like a monster. He wanted to scream, but then he thought of his sister's voice turning the city to ash and bit his tongue until pain filled his mouth in a loo of blood. See, I like this stuff, like where he's kind of, you know, getting corrupted and things. Like, I like that kind of thing. I don't know why. I think that's just a personal preference here. Like I said before, there wasn't really that much romance in this book, like, not at all. They didn't end up together or anything. No dramatic kiss at the end, but there were moments where it was kind of hinted that they would become a couple, and I didn't like that because I thought it was going to be a consistent message of like they're only friends. But she reached for the fruit, fingers purposefully brushing his, and again she relished the small shiver that went through him, as if the contact were something foreign, something new. Let's read some purple tabs, shall we? On page 177. This paragraph right here is describing why these monsters exist in the first place. It took a little bit of the book to actually get to this point of explaining. August's brother, Leo, was kind of a villain in the story. Attacked people, really didn't care about their feelings or whatever. I thought it could be just so cool to follow this character without talking about Kate's metallic nails. I don't know, just me. And finally, August talks about something that I wanted to tell Kate for, I don't know, the entire book. "I know it's hard to believe, Kate, but not everything in this world is about you." He pulled back. honestly, I thought you were better than this. I guess I was wrong. Finally, someone told her. And then she's just like hurt so much by this. It's like, why would you say that to me? I'm Harker's daughter. And then I wanted to talk about like the whole actual conflict of this book, which wasn't really evident until the last half. There's basically this guy, Sloane, who is a Malachi, and he works for Kate's dad. But apparently he's the villain. He just wants to take over the city. He was just a really simple, stereotypical villain in this book. And I just didn't find him scary at all because he was gone for most of the time, talking to Kate like, you are a mistake. We don't want you here. Your dad doesn't want you here. And just constantly tells her this, and that somehow makes him just a horrible villain, and he killed her mom. But yeah, I didn't find him that interesting of a villain. I thought that Leo would have been much better suited for this. Sorry. My dog's right here. I'm so sorry. Anyways, I didn't really enjoy this book, but you know what? I understand why people would like it so much. I feel so bad because I didn't like it, but there was just too much going on that didn't make any sense for me. But that is all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, then cool. I was gonna do Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom review before this, but I just had to kind of get my thoughts out about this book. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. This is my dog.